Hey, Arthur. Yes? You know what you haven't done on this channel in a long time? Made a stupid wrestling joke? No, you silly idiot. You haven't made a video talking about Critical Role in a while. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I had a revelation. I haven't really done the one thing that this channel was founded on. Talking about Critical Role at length is one of the founding principles of this channel, and by gosh, it's time to get back to it. For a hot minute, then it's back to toasters playing video games and my incessant quest to become the new Alpha Rad. Wait, did I say that out loud? And it got me thinking. Critical Role had its fair share of major revelations, moments where a big piece of lore drops or a major paradigm shift reshapes the landscape of the story. Yeah, I definitely just chose those words as an excuse to have the mocks on the screen for a little bit. You should know me by now, I am but a man. Where were we? Oh yeah, revelations. When done right, these big twists can make things more interesting, shake up story elements, reframe certain moments and give them new context, or even push the tale in a direction you'd never expect. They're not shocking swerves, bro. They're genuinely interesting moments. For an audience, as well as for the players. So sit down and stand back up. See? That's a bad shocking swerve. Bad. As we look at these classic moments in more detail. I'm Arthur from Natural 9, and here are 9 shocking revelations from Critical Role Campaign 1. Oh, and in case it wasn't already incredibly obvious, spoilers for Critical Role Campaign 1, you know, the entire thing. No Campaign 2 spoilers, however, so if you're all caught up with the Vox Machina campaign, up to and including the Dalin's Closet one-shot, you're all good. Okay? Okay. Number 9. The Not-So-Wise One Cometh. Ah, the Kavarn Saga. You were certainly the first portion of Campaign 1. Don't get me wrong, the first arc of the streamed half of Campaign 1 was fun, and it was great for an introduction, but I find myself coming back to it less and less with each rewatch of the series. The action was fine, the story was alright, and the pacing was pretty good, but the thing that always stuck out to me was the moment when we finally discovered what Kavarn actually was. For days, Vox Machina had traveled through the Underdark, encountering Duergar, hook horrors, bullets, and an obvious betrayer named Clarota on their way to finding Lady Kima aboard. All seemingly the machinations of a mysterious being known as Kavarn. Well, after a well-timed scry spell...
And you feel a presence in the room, suddenly. Your essence shifts around and you look in the darkness and you see, slowly drifting out of the shadow, a single gnarled black horn. You see below this horn one large, piercing, sky blue eye that glances up and meets your gaze. These eyes are attached to strange finger-like stalks that twist out of its body. These eyes darting around the room, looking at different directions. And then they all singularly shift on you at once.
What did you see?
What did you see?
Hey, we...
So she tells us, right?
Kavarn's the Beholder.
A beholder? What's that?
You know, for some reason, I remembered her saying he's a fucking beholder. It's Marisha. Seems like something she'd say. Regardless, Vox Machina finally gets that they're about to fuck with one of the most iconic creatures in the monster manual, enhanced by the self-grafted Horn of Orcus and an almost literal tinfoil hat. So yeah, that's gonna be great. Just drop a giant on him, it'll be alright. Number 8. Scanlan Shorthalt, Dad of the Year, 810 PD. Yeah, everyone knows the old stereotypes. Bards will nail anything that's not, nailed down. It's like they're stealing, except for them it's more about stealing hearts than trinkets. Scanlan Shorthalt is no exception, having had his fair share of romps over the years, both on screen and off. Lady favors indeed. And I think we all know what Slumber Party was code for Scanlan. Actually, that one was very respectful. I'm sorry, Zara, please don't end me up. Now, I don't know how birth control works in Exandria. Personally, he probably invented it, considering he's shacked up with Vexalia. My sex drive is matched only by my player's inability to not laugh at the most innocent of innuendo, Asar. But there's a statistical probability that a bard will have a fair amount of illegitimate children around the countrysides. For Scanlan, that probability reared its cute, pixie-cut adorned head one evening as his old crew, Dr. Dranzel's fantastic traveling troupe, showed up in Iman to hang out and have a good time. The newest member, Kaylee, introduced herself in a precocious and somewhat flirtatious manner.
Scanlan Shorthalt.
You know, I've heard quite a bit about you.
My legend is spread far and wide, I'm sure.
Indeed. And I know better than most ladies that may cross your path.
They eventually retire to the upstairs when...
You know, I've heard most of these stories. My mother, Sybil. She came across a smooth silver-tongued flautist who blew through like the wind and disappeared. Took her innocence with a promise, then vanished just as suddenly. Left her a child to raise on the income of a quilter, she did. Now, growing up, I hear tale and tale of your musical feats, as my mother took on a third job. No. Support us.
I
practiced. I stole. Lied about my age and eventually paid my way into the Duke's College so I can find you. Prove you a scoundrel.
Though their characters weren't present for the exchange, the other PCs were definitely making their presence known with their reactions at the revelation that Scanbo had sired a lady. A statistical probability, sure, but never a definitive one. And then he tried to bone her, too. Sure, he had no idea, and he immediately tried to reconcile with her and not bone her, helped along at least a bit by her seeming intent on stabbing the guy to death. But still, it kinda had it coming. Thankfully, Kaylee decided not to go through with it, and in fact, went on to be a little sappy and stuff. Weakling. I would have killed him. No, I wouldn't have. Scanlan is my dad. I love Scanlan. Number 7. Keep der rollin', 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 rollin'. What? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. To this day, the Whitestone Saga is hailed by many as the best arc of Critical Role, and it's hard to argue against that. The villains, phenomenal. The setting, haunting and intriguing. From its people to its places to the legacy behind both. The plot, intriguing. Not only in its own resolution, but in planting the seeds that would be the ultimate final arc of the campaign. The reveals? Strangely, not as OMG-inducing as you'd expect. Sure, Percy's face when he first hears the name Briarwood after years and years is amazing, and Scanlan's realization that Lady Briarwood served Vecna is very important. But it wasn't memorable, which is what we're here for. No, it was a slightly more subdued moment that managed to make it onto my list, when Percy reveals himself to Archibald Desney, an old chancellor of his father's, who speaks of the churning rebellion against the Briarwood's rule over Whitestone.
With you here, Percival, we've two de Rolo spearheading a rebellion. We have the guiding light the people need.
Who else survived?
They're nearing their goal, according to your sister, Cassandra. We haven't much time. Your sister leaves Percival.
Oh, shit!
She survived the attack and was taken as the personal assistant or slave of the Briarwoods and used as an example, a symbol of their dominance. She's been feeding us information for years, whenever she could, and she was the helping guide the last 2 attempts we've made. But no, you're not the only surviving member of your family.
As far as Percy knew, his family was gone, slaughtered in the initial attack on his home some 5 years prior. To see that yet another de Rolo was around, fighting in the shadows, was a wonder, and a boon to Vox Machina's final goal of liberating Whitestone. It's just too bad Cassandra was a little misguided, but she got there in the end, so it's all good. Number 6. Wait, that's not how Disintegrate works. The Feywild. An amazing Technicolor world full of asshole archfays, heckin' chonker wolf boys, Andrew Lloyd Webber's cats, and Vox Machina on a few separate occasions. Though their last few trips had been somewhat whimsical, VM's escape into the Feywild was anything but when they retreated there shortly after their first attempt at conquering Vecna. And this was before Skullboy finished ingesting his god seed. It was not fun for Vox Machina, let me tell you. Several instances of oh my god, actual death happened. Both twins died in one encounter. I'm sure that's worth at least one free sub from the Slayer's Cake. Tell him I sent you. Vex managed to survive thanks to a well-timed Revivify from Pike, but Birdboy didn't quite have the same luck, having been disintegrated by a Disintegrate. What do you want from me? It's in the name. Knowing very well that if they stayed, they'd be risking a TPK, Keyleth plane shifts the party to the only safe plane she can think of, the Feywild. After breaths were caught and tears were shed, everyone wondered what sort of chance they'd have to revive Vax this time around. After all, he'd kind of been dealing with some stuff related to his deal with the Raven Queen leading up to this, and he'd died a few times by this point, so it wasn't exactly going to be that easy. And then it was much easier.
You see a humanoid figure emerge from one of the nearby trees. Pale, nude, long, dark, black hair. Just kind of groggily stepping into the glade where you just were. It's a familiar figure.
I don't want him to see me.
Okay. Make a stealth check.
What has happened? What has happened? Where are we?
Feywild. Where did you just come from?
I'm not entirely sure.
There you see before you your brother, clothesless.
Thought you died. I watched you die.
It's a trick. It's a trick. It's a trick of the Feywild.
Look, I'm sorry I'm naked.
No.
Come here. I'm all right.
This was more of an in-character OMG moment than an out-of-character moment. The audience kinda already knew this was coming thanks to a reverse whisper between Matt and Liam only a half hour prior, but for the players, and more importantly the PCs, it was a massive shock to see Vax back from the dead only slightly ashy and buck naked. The Vaccinator had struck a deal with his patron, come back to the land of the living one more time with one goal in mind, end Vecna. And when that goal was done, he was to walk away one last time. None of this was known to his found family. They only knew that he was back by some kind of miracle. Sure, he was clammy, had a sick new tap bruise, and his heartbeat was slower than it takes for me to make Critical Role videos, but by golly, he was alive. And then our tag in the Archfey choked him out for funsies to test his immortality as a revenant. I love Dungeons & Dragons. Number 5. Rhysan The Deceiver deceives. Shocker. This was such a nice episode of Critical Role, and that's just the episode number. Heh, the weed number. After a week of sadness at the idea that everyone's favorite edgy nerd with a gun boner was felled by my guilty pleasure problematic waifu Anna Ripley, it was great to have a memorable raised death ritual to bring him back, complete with that confession and natural 20 from Laura Bailey. No, you're crying! The rest of the episode was a bunch of nice moments, including Kiki getting a nice ring from Patrick Rothfuss. However, the episode ends with one of the biggest cliffhangers in Critical Role history. Seeker Asamemring wasn't quite seeming himself, so when Vox Machina got taken inside by their old friend and confidant, it was a little odd. And then we discover why Asum wasn't seeming himself.
Before I continue, hear my words. Think before you act. I implore you. Understand that not all is what it seems, and I come to you as an ally. Asum's eyes flash a vibrant green for a second, and then become yellowish reptilian orbs. You see a hint of green scales kind of curl across the face.
Oh my god, he's Rita Repulsa!
Violence will not end in your favor. I am smarter, more prepared, and more powerful than all of you. If I wished you destroyed right now, I could have done it 1,000-fold already. Now, let us put our cards on the table, shall we? I, as I'm sure you've noticed, Rhysan, I need your help. I wish to kill the Cinder King. And that's where we'll end tonight's episode.
Gotta admit, she played the long game, didn't she? Rhysan really could have ass blasted Whitestone into oblivion, but that she didn't and instead chose to wait to cut a deal with Vox Machina to end her boss's life speaks volumes at her desire to eventually become a Dracolich. Good thing Vox Machina managed to stop her in the end. Could you imagine if Rhysan was flying around in Campaign 2? Oh god, that was a spoiler. I just realized. God, censor that. Someone censor that. Number 4.
That fucked with my head, Matt.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Let's get this out of the way. Fuck Hotis the Rakshasa. Dude was a pain in the ass from the beginning of his run as a villain. The Slayer's take business, his ultimate end during the most unintentionally tension-filled dungeon crawl into the 9 hells, all of it. Of course, part of what made him so hated by the party, to the point that they decided to travel straight to his jail cell, was this iconic moment. Resting after taking out the Herd of Storms and Umbrasyl himself, no one in Whitestone would suspect that they had a deceiver amongst their ranks. Clearly. So when Gilmore asked Vax to accompany him on a quiet evening stroll, no one suspected any foul play. After all, why would they? Gilmore's a friend. He'd never stabbed Vax.
You hurt me deeply. It's all I can think about.
Can I make an inside check?
You would if you had time.
Oh my god! I knew it. No!
The pain hits you suddenly, before anything else does, as you're lost in that face and the sudden feeling and sensation of terror and horror.
Oh my god, he stabbed Vax.
You feel what should be a pulse of poison hit your system, and you just manage to fight it off, as suddenly you look down, and there is Gilmore holding a blade thrust into your stomach. Your robes now beginning to fill with crimson red around the wound. It's all I think about. And you watch as a flicker to his form happens, and you see for a second there's a flash, not skin, but fur. You see teeth, you see whiskers, and the hand holding the dagger is facing the other direction. That's where we're gonna end tonight's session.
Yep, turns out that threatening a Rakshasa as it expires by your hands ends up creating some kind of grudge or something. Who knew? You want to talk about cliffhangers? This is definitely one for the books. Number 3. DTSR. Don't Trust Sam Riegel. What, you thought the shit he pulls off in Campaign 2 is crazy? Try ripping out the hearts of your fellow PCs the biggest I walk away and show history, and then bringing out blonde wussy Tony Stark. Scanlan fell at the hands of the deceased deceiver, needing another raise dead ritual. Oh boy, we sure needed this again. It went really well, and Scambo was back to normal, needing to rest. The party then decided to fuck with him a little bit. Why not? This was Scanlan Shorthalt. He practically had it coming at this point, what with his sexist remarks and the lame jokes and everything.
Why the fuck would you do that? But you've never done anything for me. What's my mother's name?
So you coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, that turned out great. Now, yes, being down one of the strongest party members in their roster was bad enough, but they also lost a friend. Scanlan was a little shit, but he was Vox Machina's little shit. And the fact that he'd raised a lot of excellent fuck you points at his friends made the walk out all the more bitter. Still though, Vox Machina had a lot to do. They had some business in Marquette, so they went there, only to discover a strange man in gold armor hanging out with an automaton.
You there! You lot! Hello! Wow!
Wait, why is Sam talking?
Construct takes a few steps forward and begins writing into the book.
In my travels through...
Kleenex, it doesn't work! You piece of shit!
I do not like you.
This fucking asshole, am I right?
Look at this willing accomplice motherfucker.
I know!
Piece of shit, both of you.
You are all
so
pieces of
angry
shit.
at everything right now.
I don't like change! Bullshit!
Tell us about the loot crate, Sam! Tell us about the loot crate!
He has a new character sheet!
Nope, I hate Tarry. He's a dick.
Fuck you, Ryan Green! Fuck you!
Show is breaking apart because of you, Sam! Show me on the character sheet where the bad DM touched you.
So, bringing it back to the current conversation at hand.
Currently employed, right?
Sam and Matt had conspired to mess with the rest of Vox Machina to introduce this loser to Vox Machina. How dare they introduce one of my favorite boys in all the Critical Role. After the emotional roller coaster that was Scanlan's departure, the rest of the players weren't ready to deal with some rich asshole trying to fill their cube-shaped hole. I don't think anyone was, really. But we got Tarry in, and boy did he turn out great. Number 2, a 100% chance of gasps. Hey there, Delilah, what's it like in Tharampala? Bet you want your hubby back, but Kiki killed him like a baller, yes it's true. I hope we kill a clone of you, or maybe 2. Oh, what'd you do to me? God damn it. Really, we should have seen this coming. She's a necromancer, guys. Am I the only one who meticulously reads the spell lists in the PHP? That's how I lull myself to sleep. The historic 100th episode, 99 if you want to get serious about this, why aren't we still counting campaign tips as episode 12? Brought all kinds of craziness. We had the return of Scanlan after his year-long run as the Meat Man, the beginning of the plot threads that would lead to the grand finale, and a trip deep into the sands of Marquette leading to yet another ziggurat of Ioun. Some creepy cultists hung around it, including a seemingly high priestess, doing all the commanding. Vox Machina, not content with letting that shit go, wants to see who it was. And well, it wasn't who anyone was expecting, that's for sure.
For a brief moment, before the grin crawls across her face, you see the face of Delilah Briarwood.
We killed her! She's dead!
No!
She's dead! She died! We killed her!
Oh no.
Yet there she is, at the top of the ziggurat.
How? How?
It's like a soap opera.
Dun dun dun!
I broke the world for you. Returns.
I would like you all to roll initiative.
What?
On our...
Yep. Delilah Briarwood, last we checked, was melted in an acid pit that was used to distill residuum from whitestone, so how the hecky was she back now? Clones! Necromancers always keep one handy, just in case. It makes sense that a High Priestess of the Undying King would herself have a kind of immortality. She pulled this trick off one more time in the lead up to the climb up the Primordial Giant, this time with hubby Silas in tow. Oh great, he's back too. But that return wasn't quite as impactful. Nothing beats the table's reaction when those magic words were said. Also, John Heder was there, how about that? And number 1, wait, I didn't order these dragons. And Uriel was this close to retirement. This one didn't have the reactive oomph that Delilah's return had, but it's at the top of the list because of its significance. Picture this. An aimless Vox Machina wondering what their next steps are. Vax thinking about straight up Irish goodbying his friends because he thinks they don't like him anymore. Everyone else acting like normal people. Uriel Taldore about to announce that he's going to step down as sovereign and instead defer control of Iman and all of Taldore to the council. Wonder who's on the council, by the way. Bet they're cool. And then, out of nowhere,
You look up and you guys all kind of gather this as well. You can see piercing out of some of the cloud cover above what looks to be 2 fast-moving streaks of color, black and red. That's kind of...
What?
And then you can't see them anymore. And so at this point you start hearing bells going off. Ding, 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 around the city. Tops of walls in the distance. You
Warning?
recognize these are warning bells.
Warning bells.
Oh shit.
At this point, you guys hear this sound and you turn around just in time to see what looks to be a larger than you've seen before, white dragon just slam into the side of Allura's tower in the distance as the wall that the stage is buttressed up against now has perched above it an enormous vision of death. A grinning, ancient green dragon. Its wings are kind of curled around its form as it looks down at the rest of you in the middle of this open space and goes, "Delicious cattle." At this point in time, you look up and see another set of wings come slamming down to this side.
Holy shit, look at the size
What is that thing?
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
At this moment, another burst of fire over the wall here, much closer, goes and swooping out of it, out of the flames,
I hate everything.
you see the largest red dragon you've ever experienced.
What did we do?
Come swooshing through the flames.
rises up past. The two other dragons almost lower their heads as it passes over.
They just want their gold back.
It's a little shocking. Now, who am I kidding? I fucking pissed my pants. This isn't so much a single moment of realization as much as it is several. That they're doing the unthinkable.
You are familiar with dragons. It's one of your favorite enemies. Chromatic dragons are very selfish entities and do not usually work with individuals of other color patterns. The fact that this is coordinated between multiple is a very, very bad sign.
That they destroyed Alura's tower, I'll fucking kill them!
What looks to be a larger than you've seen before, white dragon just slam into the side of Alura's tower in the distance. Claws clunk into the side, digging into the stonework, wings unfurled. It looks into the upper window of where her actual parlor is and kind of peeks in for a second before and pushes off the tower. As it does, you see the stonework crack and the top of Alura's tower shatter.
Oh my god.
Collapse, smashing into the city streets around you.
And the Vox Machina was way out of their depth with this fight.
That's such a bitch. 19.
19 misses.
19 misses?
Yes.
Everybody hear that?
Dragon.
19 misses.
22.
Just barely hits.
It has an AC of 22. Some bullshit.
This is the first true pants-shitting terror moment in Critical Role history. It ushered in a new era of Critical Role, humbled the party, and made it clear that this was not the conclave of chromatic dragons to mess with. Conclave of chromatics. Conclave. Chroma. You know, there's a shirt idea somewhere in there. I'll get back to you on that. And there you have it. The 9 most shocking reveals in all of Campaign 1. But that's just me. What about you? Any issues with my order? Did I miss out on your favorite? Let me know in the comments section below or on Twitter. And as always, I've been Arthur from Natural 9 and... Wait, I think I forgot something. Wait, I'm not actually Arthur, but his alternate universe counterpart, Armando. I'm here to ruin the channel. Wait, where are you going?